I would be honored if you play football for this team.
Me? Play football?
Hey, Sooner football fans. This is your Sooner football fans podcast. You got Terry and Rob here. Boomer Rob.
Boomer Terry.
And we are coming at you from the beautiful Podcast Palace in the beautiful Norman, Oklahoma, just down the street from the Palace on the Prairie.
God's country.
God's country, where we are not
affiliated with the University of Oklahoma.
But we do have a little bit of eligibility left.
A year or two.
And we got to give a shout out to Tara's dad, Mr. Doty. So we always want to make sure that Bill hears from us and knows that we're
Sooner fan.
Yeah, knows that we're thinking about him, and we still wonder how he could have raised such a super gleaming, squeaky clean daughter
who will bounce you off the wall if she
has a chance to.
No,
especially if you're a Texas fan,
right?
But also, guys, if you're listening to us right now, whatever you're listening to us on, hit that subscribe and like button. And we're in that part of our broadcast where we had the fans on. So if you want to be a part of the podcast, and it's your podcast, you get to talk pretty much anything Sooner football you want. Just go to www.soonerfootballfans.com. There's a little deal that says Beyond the Podcast. Give us your little bit of information, and we'll get you on. It's that simple. Right, Rob?
It's that simple.
That simple. And speaking of which, we have a Sooner fan on with us today. First time we've had him on. He is from Antlers, Oklahoma, which is kind of down towards my neck of the woods, McAllister.
Southeast Oklahoma down there?
Southeast Oklahoma.
All right.
Home of the Antlers Bearcats.
Antlers Bearcats.
Yeah. So, but all the way from Antlers, we have Michael Wade on with us. Boomer, Michael.
Boomer, guys.
How's it going today?
Oh, it's going pretty good. Just haven't been up very long. Just it was a long night last night. So,
do we want to ask why it was a long night last night, or was it work related?
Oh no, it's not work related. I always have trouble sleeping.
Keep in mind, it's PG-13.
No, not any of that. No, my schedule's so screwed up because I end up having to close on Mondays and Wednesdays, and then I have to be there 7 to 4 at my job Tuesdays and Thursdays, where I go to sleep about 2:00 each morning. So that's about what it is.
I've been sawing some major logs at 2:00. I'm just telling you.
So tell everybody out there a little bit about yourself. Like I said,
you became a Sooner fan.
Yeah, you're from Antlers, Oklahoma. Were you born and raised there?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I've been here all my life. Been a Sooner fan most of my life. From what I've been told, and I don't remember this, I do remember a lot of stuff, but I don't remember this. I used to watch Sooner football with a couple of my uncles, and of course, that was back in the early 90s, and I don't think we really want to talk about the early 90s.
Yeah, no.
So, anyway, I've been a big fan, and just I've been really following them since about halfway into 99, 2000. 2000 was when I really sat down and really watched the game. First game that I remember seeing was I want to say it was the Nebraska game.
That was a good one.
2000.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good one. And then
there.
and then I recorded the 2000 Big 12 championship. That was actually on my birthday. So we went out and just got some to eat and just went out and got and everything. And I was like, man, I wanted to watch that game, but of course, when I was a kid,
Yeah.
I didn't have my way, but oh well.
What is your birthday on the 2nd?
Yeah, December 2nd.
December 2nd.
Yes.
Rob, you act like you know somebody else who has a birthday on December 2nd.
No. I just thought that the 2000 National Championship was January 2nd.
Oh, he said the Big 12 championship.
Oh, okay, my bad.
Big 12. No, not January. Big 12.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to remember, this is how old I am. I can't remember hardly yesterday, but who did we beat in the Big 12? Was that Kansas State that year? We had to play them again? Okay.
They had that big quarterback here in Beasley.
Yeah, okay.
Man, I hated him so much. Him and L. Robertson from 2000. Oh gosh, I hated Kansas State. Of course, at the grocery store I work with, my boss, he loves Darren Sproles, and when he found out about the championship when OU was played Kansas State back in, I think it was 2004, when they got thrashed by Kansas State.
Yeah, when Darren Sproles is still running up and down the field.
Yeah. Oh, he mentioned that the entire week, and I'm like, man, I hate Darren Sproles for that. I still hate Darren Sproles for that. And I just do not like Kansas State either. They're one of those that they're not to the level of Oklahoma State and Texas, but they're near it.
Yeah, they during that period they were a little bit arrogant, but they kind of had the right to be. They'd kind of
did they though
jump. Well, I mean, over us they'd beat us. I think a couple of years in a row. But I mean, just the fact that
I got lucky.
Snyder took them from bottom of the mud barrel to at least playing. Never made it to a title game, but we're always in it. But they were, and I think still are, a little bit arrogant. I think we're gonna see a interesting drop off this year with Kansas State until they get it kind of turned around.
Well, I think they'll be pretty good. I don't think they'll be as good as what North Dakota State was, because he had a little bit worse talent than what he does. He had a little bit worse talent at North Dakota State than what he does now. He has a little bit better talent, and heck, they almost got 6 wins last year. So, they clumped together almost 6 wins.
Yeah, talking about that national championship game, Darren Sproles is still playing in the pros. I mean, he was a special talent.
He was a stud.
He still is, I guess. So.
Yeah. But what is the name? I just Googled. I can't remember the new Kansas State football coach.
It's Klingsman or something like that. Klinsman.
Yeah, Chris Kleiman. Yeah,
Yeah.
if I just Googled it, you Google Kansas State football, guess who shows up on it?
Bill Snyder.
It's still Bill Snyder. Somebody needs to update Google. But yeah, and the Kansas State fans weren't real happy with that hire. I mean, I don't know why. I mean, personally, I think it's probably a good fit because this guy, I mean, how many national titles does he have? Yeah, I know it's, what is it?
He has at least 5.
Yeah. Like that.
And
I think he's probably a pretty good coach, really.
Yeah, and if I remember right, just about 4 or 5 years ago, he went into Kansas State and thumped them.
Yeah.
And the next year thumped Kansas.
Here's the thing, though.
Yeah.
He's recruiting to an icy,
barren nothing.
Wasteland.
Yeah.
Who wants to go play up there? Nobody.
Yeah, but they do have a nice dome. I mean, it's one of the.
You got to really love football if you want to go there.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to. You have to.
That's a fact, but it kind of surprised me how I think they got all upset. I mean, I know that the coach from North Texas State turned Kansas State down.
Seth Luttrell?
Yeah, Seth Luttrell, because he wanted to bring his whole entire staff, and I guess Kansas State told him he couldn't do that.
Yeah.
So he backed out, and I guess this guy was willing to keep a few and build a few, and
Seth Luttrell was a fullback for us.
I heard it was Bill Snyder's son that they wanted to keep on, and I guess Luttrell didn't want that. I guess he didn't want a Snyder on his coaching staff, and, like we were just talking about. I don't blame him.
Yeah, I mean, if you have the legendary coach's son on your staff that you didn't actually hire, you got to be looking over your shoulder, going, what's going on here? Why do they want me to keep this guy?
Be like keeping Hillary when you move into the White House. Not going to do that.
Oh boy.
Now, one of the things I wanted to get into, we've tried some new stuff, and we're going to keep doing those. But the first thing I wanted to do,
oh boy,
no, I mean this one's not hard at all. Michael, you are from Antlers, right?
Yeah,
and it's the home of the Bearcats.
Oh gosh,
and we're doing where you're from sports news.
Oh man!
And you guys, your high school team looks like you had a pretty good year until you got into the playoffs. Had a little bit of trouble in the playoffs.
What class are they?
Yeah.
What class is?
We're 2A.
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 2A. Yes.
They were 9-3 this year. And let's see, you guys played Savannah, which is down by that's right up the road from McAllister, my hometown, Tallahena. Well, hold on, the Savannah Bulldogs, the Tallahena Tigers, Coalgate. What are the Coalgate? Are they
That's some toothpaste.
Wildcats.
Wildcats. Oh. And then you played Wilburton, again down my neck of the woods. Man, and I cannot remember.
There's a mountain or something down there, right?
Is it
Diggers?
Is it Wilburton Diggers? Hugo. What's Hugo's? Hugo's
Buffalo.
are Bison or Buffalo?
Buffalo.
Yeah. Hartshorn Miners. The Heavener. Who's the Heaveners? Do we know what?
Wolves, I think. They're with the Wolves.
And then you got to play the greatest name of any football team around, or any school around, Atoka, the Wampus Cats.
The Wampus Cats. Oh gosh.
And the Eufaula Ironheads. But what I wanted to find out about was this game. As I was looking, Coalgate played at Antlers 6 overtime win against Coalgate.
6 overtime.
Yeah. No, we lost that one. Coalgate beat us, and I was mad that whole game. So we went into that game. We didn't give up a point. I think it was that. Let's see. You said we played. Yeah, so we didn't give up a point.
Yeah, you'd beaten Savannah 47-0, Tallahena 31-0, and then Coalgate comes into town.
Mm-hmm. We didn't give up a point until the first play of the fourth quarter. We were up 12-0, and they scored a touchdown, made it 12-6, and then it was on from there. They come back and scored, made it 12-12. We went down. I don't think we did anything the next possession, but then Coalgate goes down and scores, made it 12-18. So with like 2 minutes left, we ran down the court, and our offense. We had our old coach Kenny Spear. He's up in. He left us this year, and ever since he came in, he brought in this. Running the football offense, and we ran and ran. We ran it down your throat.
Yeah.
Just the line moving and everything. It was, whenever it was working perfectly, it was beautiful to watch. I'm not even kidding. Just, people getting out of the way, our running backs just breaking out of tackles, going off, scoring touchdowns and everything. But that was the first time I really saw them like really get the ball, go. And I'll be nice and I'll say that we didn't have our quarterback was okay at calling plays, and I'll be nice about that. That's all I'm going to say. And a lot of Bearcat fans know what I'm talking about. And anyway, we went down, scored a touchdown. And then we took it to overtime. I think we got the ball first, and we fumbled it. So they got the ball, and their crowd was just going off and everything. And what happens? They go 4-and-out. So we get, so they get the ball, they get the touchdown. We're like, okay, we got to score now. And I don't know if y'all have ever been to the Antlers football field. So the press box is like off of the 50-yard line. It's like between the 35 and 45-yard line on the other side, and then you have near the entrance you have the seats over there. On the other side you have band and some school kids and everything. They played on the far side of the field, so we're over there near the entrance, just standing up trying to see what's going on. Anyway, we broke in there, got the touchdown, sent another overtime. So I think on a second, either we went one play or we got it down to the 1 and then went in. We got another touchdown, made it 24-18. They went to 4th down twice on their, win the third overtime possession, and they finally got it in and made it 30-30. So, of course, we both go for 2 and miss it. So here we go in the 4th overtime.
Jeez.
Nothing. Still nothing. And then the 5th overtime, same thing. 6th overtime, they finally get in. They scored on the, I think it was on a 4th down. And then we got the ball. We got it inside the 5. 1st down, got it to the 1. 2nd down, got it down to the 1. 3rd down, got it down to the 1. 4th down, what we heard was that he actually got in. It's just that the refs, whenever they pushed, whenever he got into the pile, somebody either took the legs out from under him or something, and he fell down, but the ball was over, and the refs called him down. So that's how we lost.
Yeah. Yeah. And in that class of football in Oklahoma, we don't have instant replay. So
no. Do we have instant replay in any high school? I don't think we do.
No, we don't.
I don't think so. I don't think we do.
I remember watching the 6A championship one time. I think it was last year, and they didn't have instant replay. They had something like that happen.
Yeah.
Like either there was a catch that was made or something, and they said it wasn't a catch, or I'm not even sure what happened.
Yeah. Well, it was. I know that I'm looking at the box score here. It was, 24-18. Well, Coalgate scored 24, and Antlers scored 18 points in overtime, which was more than. I mean, it was a nothing game at halftime.
That was more than the game.
Yeah. Yeah, but I was just scrolling through that, just looking to see if there was something on their schedule that might, jump out that we could talk about. I was like, well, holy cow, there it is. 6 overtimes.
Yeah. And honestly, that was, and I don't know if y'all remember that date. So you know what happened not even 24 hours after that?
No.
The OU game.
Ah.
I was sick. I was so tired, sleepy. I was going into the 3rd quarter. I fell asleep. 4th quarter, fell asleep. And I'm like, what in the... I'm like, man, that was a long game.
Yeah.
I think we left right around 11:30 that night.
Dang, that's nuts for a high school game to go 6 overtimes. I mean, now... You'd put on your little deal here. I want to ask you about what, you brought up, you go to the high school game and then you watch the Iowa State game the next day. But you say you have to find a way to watch or follow games at work. How do you follow the games when you're stuck at work?
Okay. So I have 2 stories. This will be 2 stories. The first story, it has a little sub story to it. Of course, I work at a grocery store. They play music and all this stuff. Well, our assistant manager at the time, his name is Chuck, he would always try to turn on the OU game over the intercom unless someone just, if no one was in the store, no one, store owner or anything like that, he'd just go ahead and put it on. that was up until about 2007 when a lady said I didn't come to the store to listen to a GD game.
Yeah.
And anyway, about
Obviously,
2005,
she was obviously an Oklahoma State fan.
must have been. Anyway, about 2005, that first Saturday, I completely forgot. So it was a TCU game, and I was trying to listen to it. I was carrying out someone's groceries, and her husband was in the car. So he had his priorities straight. And he was in the car, listening to the OE game. And she let me listen to it for a couple of minutes, and then I had to go back in and continue working. And let's see, it was after the game. They were doing the post game, and he put it on. And first thing you hear, we'll be right back after these. We'll be right back as Oklahoma falls to TCU 17-10. I was so mad the rest of the day. I was like, man, I didn't want to. Oh gosh. So anyway, later on, like I said, I was a backer back then, and there was about 4 of us that was we were big OU fans. So we were like, and he actually put it on the intercom back in 2000. Let's see, it was 2006 when this happened. So he had it over intercom. We listened to it, and it was the Oregon game. That's 2 losses now over the intercom.
Yeah.
And anyway, I think it was Malcolm Kelly's touchdown. And of course, you know, they have to call us, carry out, and do whatever. So one of my friends, we had 2 guys there, and then one of my friends' name is Chad. He was over there with us, and you hear Bob Berry, you know, it's caught by Kelly going down the sideline, 40, 35-30, 25-20, 15-10, 5. Chad back, please, Chad. And we got so angry. We were throwing stuff on the aisle. We were just cussing out. We weren't cussing her out. We were just so mad. We were, that still burns me up. Just right at that moment, it's like, I wonder if that cashier just really meant to do that at that moment, or
yeah,
just to screw with us, or what. We were so mad. And then, let's see. The one story I really wanted to tell was about 2007, the next year. Sam Bradford's freshman year in North Texas. You know, I completely forgot that it was, number 1, a pay-per-view game, and number 2, first game of the year.
Yeah.
And so I went ahead and worked to close at night. And I kept thinking that week, how am I going to listen to it? And I know I had a little pocket radio. It looked like a little MP3 radio, or an MP3 player. And I was like, well, I could listen to that, just put it inside my shirt and go with that. Because, you know, they'd probably making me do most of the stuff in the back, and I wouldn't have to go in sack. Well, lo and behold, they called me to sack, and I'm like, okay, well, I'll put it out, and I'll put my headphones inside my shirt and go ahead and carry out. Well, this happened twice, and then a third time, I walked up there, and I completely forgot about it, and had it in my ear while I'm talking to the customer and everything, not paying attention that I have it in my ear, just, you know, going along with it.
Right.
So that assistant manager, Chuck, he calls me to the office, and he says, you know, he says, come to the office. I'm like, okay. So as I'm walking up there, I'm like, crap, I'm going to get sent home for listening to this. I'm like, you know, what could I think of to get, what kind of line could I think of to really get, to not make sure I get sent home or anything like that? So I went ahead and I was like, well, honestly, you know, just go ahead and tell them the truth. So he says, what was that in your ear? I said, it's a headphone. And he goes, well, what are you listening to? I said, it's a radio. He said, well, what are you listening to? And I said, the OU game. He kind of sat back and looked, and he goes, what's the score? And I told him the score. I think it was like 42-0. I don't remember. Anyway, he said, okay, keep me updated and go get me a pop. So that's what I did.
Go get me a pop. Huh? All right.
Go get me a pop. Yes, sir, I'll do that. So up until he left, I was giving him updates. He said, I can go home and watch it now.
So
thanks, and then left.
So what do you do now? Like this past season, have you made it to where you could be off for the games, or?
Yes, I'm doing well. This past year, the only game I had to really watch, I was at work for, was half of the TCU game, and that was because I had to be there. Right now I'm a shift manager, or a closing manager, along with some office relief, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Anyway, no one else was there, and they didn't want to wait. They don't like it whenever there's no one in the morning, like on Saturday mornings, because somebody might need to check cash or whatever. So I sit in the office all morning. And so when the OU game come on, being in the office has its perks and not perks. But I was listening to the OU game while everyone was on the floor.
Yeah.
And then when the closer that night came in, I just went counted my stuff and left. I think it was right about halftime. The TCU started making their comeback. It was whenever I could finally leave.
Yeah. So what do you think about this past season? Were you as frustrated with the defense and everything as everybody else, or?
Heck yes.
Yeah.
I was upset. There aren't very many times when, like, let's see, I think it was Oklahoma State or, Texas, Kansas, all these games. West Virginia, the defense did get 2 turnovers and scored both times. So, I wasn't as mad about that, but it was more, but, everyone has a pretty good defense in the Big 12. Why can't we?
Yeah.
But then no one has a really, really good offense like we do. Everyone's like, why can't we have a good offense? Except, TCU probably had a pretty good one with Boykin when he was a quarterback. But other than that, it was, and Baylor and RG3, but we're not going to talk about Baylor. Anyway, it was always, why can't we have a good defense? Sometimes they're in position, and they couldn't make the tackle, except they stood there. It's like they were statues. And that's what really made me mad, because they couldn't. It was like they were getting there, but they weren't going all the way. They weren't making the tackle. They weren't doing this. They weren't getting the interception. I was looking at I think it was you guys or someone, I don't remember who it was, were talking about, Grinch wanting them to, I think it was you guys with Lisa last week. He was wanting to get at least 24 turnovers this year.
Yeah.
It feels so weird to say this. We had 11 this year. Offense had 13.
Yeah.
The year before, we had 18. That is quite a drop off. Just only 7.
Yeah. No,
And,
the defense was lackluster, to say, that there was only twice that they were, that I can remember, or looking back on it, that they were extremely opportunistic, and that was in the West Virginia game. Like you said, they got 2 turnovers for a touchdown, but other than that, can you name another turnover that they got that was highly needed? Maybe in the Army game.
Army.
No.
Other than that, no. Well, let's see. No, because we had the 3 turnovers against Texas.
Yeah.
And so, you really couldn't call it a turnover against Tech. That was on a 2-point conversion, even though we picked it up and went the other way. That's 2 points.
Yeah, it's, hey, or any time our defense did anything, even though that was a special teams on 2, that's a
it counts.
It counts.
Yeah,
that's a defensive play. We're going to take it whether everybody else counts it or not. We are. Oklahoma will, especially last year.
So that'd be 12 turnovers. I think they didn't even give them a turnover on that one. I know we had 2 that game. So
yeah. Well, it was definitely rough for Sooner fans to watch, and I think everybody right now has kind of got the you know, how are we been putting it? It can't be any worse than it was this year, but
Yeah, we can't say that because of last year.
yeah. So, you know, we can only go up from here. Okay, what we're going to do right now, also, it's time for our Sooner Bucket of Questions. Now, have you heard the Sooner Bucket of Questions yet?
Yeah, I think it was Rob that sent it to Lisa last week, and I was like, why is there a picture on my timeline? I mean, and I was like, oh, it's a Sooner Bucket of Questions.
Yeah. Now,
okay.
the reason why it's called Sooner Bucket of Questions because it's in a Sooner bucket, but they may have to do with Sooner football.
May not.
May have to do with movies. May have to do with music. It may have to do with just weird stuff that you got to explain yourself about. So, Rob always does the Sooner Bucket of Questions. So
I got to be good for something.
Yeah.
I kind of wish I got Lisa's last question last week. Well, not last, but the one before, but the whore dog. I wish I got, And the main thing is because I don't know if y'all remember the cartoon Cat Dog.
Yes,
That's what
Cat
I would
Dog.
do, Cat Dog. And the main reason is, and I hate to say this, I hate to be immature this way, but I want to know, how do they use the bastard?
Yeah,
everyone wants to know because it's a cat and a dog together. We want to know. I mean, does it go in the middle? I mean, we don't know.
They never addressed that, did they?
No, not even in cartoon.
Yeah.
Not even a cartoonist.
Yeah.
So.
All right, Rob.
All right,
let's
here we
start
go.
with question number 1.
Are you ready, Michael?
Yes, sir.
This is for big cash and prizes without the cash and prizes. Okay? So, what was the coach's name in The Water Boy?
Oh, man.
That's the easy one.
That is an easy one. Oh, gosh. Oh. I can't think of it.
I'll give you a hint. He got a tattoo on his backside of Roy Orbison.
It's what?
He got a tattoo of Roy Orbison on his backside.
Yeah, I remember that. I can't think of his name, though. I see his face and everything. I just don't remember his name.
Mr. Coach Klein.
Coach Klein.
Coach Klein. Coach Klein. Dang it.
All right, here we go. Number 2.
Here's the next one.
Would you rather be the best player on a horrible team or the worst player on a great team?
This one's like
define great team.
How about National Championship 2000? Would you rather be the worst player on that team or the best player on the 1990
whatever OU team?
Pick one.
95. Yeah. Well, you did a ring if you're the worst player on the team. I mean, so I wouldn't mind being the worst player on the team, on the best team.
How would you answer that, Terry?
Yeah, I think I would go with that. I'd go worst player on the best best team. Going back to my high school days, I always tell people, they're like, "Do you play basketball?" I'm like, "Yeah." I was all district bench warmer.
Yeah.
Terry, what do you say?
Oh man, I don't know. I think I would rather be the best player on the worst team.
I would too.
just simply, and it,
Does that make me a narcissist?
Yeah, which may not mean you're that good at all.
Well,
really, I think my dad. I think I've told you this before, Rob. My dad went to little high school down by McAllister, Ashland, Oklahoma, and he was the. Not the valedictorian, but the salutatorian. Yeah, of his class, and he used to always bring that up. Well, his graduating class had like 12 people in it. And I was like, okay, Dad, you were the second smartest guy out of 12 people. That's really not saying a whole lot.
Hey, sir, you did not take away.
So if you were, but I. On Michael's end, I kind of agree with, I like his because if you're the worst player on the best team, you're probably still a pretty good player, I would think, maybe.
Yeah, and honestly, you probably will be well, I wouldn't say you'd be better than the best player on the worst team, because there's been pretty bad teams. I mean, good Lord. You know, you could be out there averaging maybe a point or whatever. I think my high school career has a whole rebound and 1 turnover. That's how much I played.
All right.
There you go.
You know, I always tell people I was in the top 33 of my class.
Which you had 30.
There were 33.
33.
Yeah, 33. All
Well,
right.
that doesn't sound as bad. You don't just tell them how much you had in there. You're like 33.
Right.
I was in top 33.
Okay, Michael, here we
It'd be
go.
like-
Question number 3. What is something that a ton of people are obsessed with, but you just don't get the point of?
This is a life question.
This is a life question. Oh, crap. I can't think.
I can think of one right off the top. Soccer.
I can't too, but I'm not.
I'm just saying.
Oh, God.
Rob just goes and gets half the world mad at us right now. So
Yeah, he starts throwing stuff too. Well, the two obvious answers, being fans of Oklahoma State and Texas, but
That's a pretty good one, too.
yeah, those are good ones.
but yeah, gosh, the biggest one that bugs the crap out of me is, well, it probably could be, something that I could get into. It's that stupid Fortnite game. People liking that. I cannot, I've watched it on, there's people that stream it, and I'm like, it's kind of cool, but I'm like, why? Why? Yeah. You got to have a little bit of a storyline, even though I'm not big on storyline games, Got to have something to it besides going out there. But then again, I play NBA 2K, whatever, and Madden, so,
Yeah,
and then also, it could be the same thing for me, because this past year I actually played fantasy football. I can tell you two. Well, I could say thank you to Terry, and well, thank you for the kicker to Rob, because Cowboys. So this goes into another one. So I had Dak Prescott one week. At Dak Prescott, Greg Swain as my tight end, Maher as the kicker, and the Dallas defense. And if you can guess which game that was, it was near the end of the season. It was the Colts game, the 30-3 game. I was so mad. I cut all of them off of my fantasy team. I just like, no way. No, that's it. No more Cowboys on my team. And like I said, with Terry, I can thank him, because I had James Conner as my starting running back.
There you go.
And yeah, he got me 20. He'd get me 15 to 20 points a game until he got injured. So
yeah, so yours is so you're not. Was this the first time you played?
This is the first time I ever played.
Yeah. So are you going to do it again? Play fantasy football again?
Oh, heck yeah.
Are you?
Yes, I am. I got third place this year, which it's kind of a dirty third, because somebody I could have probably got second the guy who ended up winning the league, I went 0-2 against him this year. And one of the, I think it was the week that the Browns played the Broncos. I actually had the Broncos defense, which was stupid. And I wanted the Ravens defense. So I'm like, I got an email saying, that it was someone who needed it worse than me, and I'm like, well, who needs it worse than me? And I look, it was the first place guy. It was the second place guy, the guy that I was going to play in the first round of the playoffs, and I was angry. One of my coworkers, who, oddly enough, there's another story to that. he was like, dude, that is so dirty, but it's smart. I'm like, no, it's dirty. 100% dirty. Anyway, that other one, my coworker Levi, he's the one who got me in this league. It was, I think, the second week after Leonard Fournette came back. He had him as his number one. So he's like, man, I don't know about Leonard Fournette. I don't know. And I had James Conner, so I was happy with that. I think I picked up Nick Chubb. And I was like, okay, well, no big deal. I can get Nick Chubb. And then I had a receiver, or I don't remember who I had as my third running back. But anyway, he's like, dude, I want, and this was before the kicking incident, Kareem Hunt. He's like, I want Kareem Hunt. I really want Kareem Hunt. And I'm like, well, I need a receiver. You want to trade the receiver? And he's like, well, who do you want? And I said, I don't know, just pick one. So he comes up to me right before he leaves. He says, I'll give you Fournette and Leonard Fournette and T.Y. Hilton, who oddly enough torched the Dallas defense. So I got a little bit back to that one. I'll trade you them for Kareem Hunt and whoever you want to give me. I'm like, well, the only one that is really good on my offense is Sammy Watkins, and Watkins did crap after he got him. And then, of course, Kareem Hunt went kicking out of the league. So 2 weeks later, I felt so bad because I got third place. I played my coworker in the third place game, and oddly enough, I had Aaron Rodgers as my quarterback, and that's when he went off about for 50 points.
Yeah,
I think he had two rushing touchdowns, and I want to say 3 passing. But he had a big game, and I felt so bad because I did him that way, did him dirty. So,
well,
I feel bad still.
Rob's got the soccer. He's got that soaked up as he doesn't get why everybody's into it.
Yeah, it's a stupid game.
Which I'm kind of in that too. I'm not a big soccer fan. I don't understand it. But the other thing is, and Rob's boy Rhett is into this, and you kind of brought it up too, is people watching other people play video games. Mm-hmm. That's a thing now. You know that?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they literally, have, you can go online and watch.
Those guys are rich.
Yeah. And it's competitive video gaming, and these millennials is
no, Rhett's he's the next generation.
Yeah. What is Rhett?
I don't know. Whatever's past millennial.
Whatever's past.
Millennial's good. I'm fine with millennial. That's what I consider them at.
He plays that Fortnite though, and he's good.
Yeah, but I mean that he will come out sometimes to Louis with us, and there's like real sports on the TVs, and Rhett has his phone propped up and is watching Bob and Larry play, whatever video game that they're playing. And I just don't, I hope it never comes to, in 15 years or so that, we're sitting here.
Listen, let me tell you,
watching OU and Texas play, and it's 2 guys sitting there playing video games.
That Fortnite, they got to figure it out, because you can be, so it's a everybody against everybody game.
Right.
Right. And I don't know very much about it, but they have, just this huge map and everybody's out there playing. Well, all of a sudden they have a concert. I think the guy's name was Marshmallow.
Marshmallow, yes, I heard about that.
And so they're in the game, and they stop playing the game to watch in the game the concert.
That's weird.
They've got to figure it out, because kids.
Yeah, it was weird. When I heard about it, it was like, first off, I was like, dang, why didn't I take part in it? And second of all, I was like, dang, that is so weird.
Oh, Rhett loved it. And all of his little buddies, little buddies. They're all like 6'4" or whatever. Yeah. Anyway, they all loved it. And, they play that Fortnite like it's going out of style. So.
Yeah. See, and I actually quit playing video games. I'll play some on my phone every now and then, when Candy Crush was popular.
Really a video game.
Yeah, but I quit playing, the basketball, football, baseball games or any of that when Caleb almost beat me, okay, at football. And so that way I can say that I am undefeated against my children in video games. I've never been beaten by David, Megan, or Caleb in any video game ever. And the reason why is when they would get close to beating me, I just wouldn't play them anymore. I'd just say, "No, I don't want to play."
Well, that's smart.
No, I don't play anymore either. Oh, dude.
And Caleb is the only one who beat me at any sport, and that was his, I think, 8th grade year. We were playing basketball, and he did beat me at basketball before I could stop playing. And because, which isn't saying much, beating me at basketball is like, beating a turtle at a 50-yard dash. I mean, but he was, what, 12?
Slow and steady wins the race.
Yeah. He was like 12 or 13 and just lit me up the last, I don't know, we were playing to 21 or something. And he was just standing out, and just dropping threes like
just
crazy.
Threes on
yeah. And so, and he would be like, "Okay, let's go play again." I was like, "No, pulled a hammy," something like that. So,
pulled the quad.
Yeah, but with video games, he almost beat me. And actually, he got really mad because we would always play with the teams that we built. I don't know if you can still do that with Xbox and stuff. You build your own team.
Yeah, you can do that still with. I got a PlayStation 4, so yeah, you can. They call it Madden Ultimate Team or MUT.
Yeah, well, I would always have a kicker that was amazing. Okay, and the last time I played him, I think I kicked a 72 or 73-yard field goal with 2 seconds left in the game.
Oh God, I would be throwing the controller. I'm like, how in the? No one's ever done that. I'll be just touching. I would be so angry.
That's kind of how he did. He went ballistic, and because he was all, I got you beat. He goes, "Are you serious? You're going to line up for a 72-yard field goal?" And I was like, "Yep." And boom, split the uprights with it. Oh my gosh, it was like Armageddon. That kid went nuts, and I just didn't play him anymore. I was like, "Yeah, for me to rely on a 72-yard kick." I better not play anymore. So I haven't. I really haven't played video
on that one.
I really haven't played video games since then.
I would retire on that one myself. I kicked a 72-yard field goal. I'm good. Nothing can beat this.
But they all still play. I mean, David's in his 30s. Caleb's, Megan, I think just turned 30, and Caleb is 26, 27, and they still. Caleb plays the basketball games, but I think Megan and David, I think they play that Fortnite. David still plays the Army games where the
Call of Duty.
Yeah, Call of Duty and stuff like that. But
yeah,
I was never. It didn't take me long not to have to play those because I was never any good at those games. I never could figure those games out.
Yeah, I couldn't either. I still. I used to play demos of that, and I don't know. I just couldn't ever get a grasp of it. I don't know. I guess it'd be a little twitchy where, you're having to do everything you're shooting, and then you turn around, shoot this, turn around, shoot that. I'm not one that can. I can if I, drink a lot of energy drinks or something, but I can't. I'm fine with picking a play, snapping the ball and throwing, or getting the ball and going up for a layup. I'm fine with that.
Yeah. Well, let's talk. Let's jump back on a little bit of Sooner stuff here, real quick.
Okay.
Let's. The news this week has been, I guess. Do either one of you know, Rob? Do you know, is Kyler going to throw at the combine?
Said he was not.
He is not going to throw. Is he going to run?
I keep hearing he's thinking about it.
Yeah.
If I'm him, I'd go ahead and throw a little bit. I mean, I wouldn't just take part in all of them, but I would take part in some because there probably is someone saying, "Well, he doesn't have that arm strength," and we've seen it all. I mean, as OU fans, any Big 12 fan will tell you that Kyler can throw the football. It's not better than Baker last year.
Right.
So,
well, I mean, I don't understand. I mean, this is just my opinion. If he would not do anything, it would be run the 40 because everybody knows he's, lightning fast. So you don't have to prove that. The one thing you have to prove is your arm strength and accuracy and things like that. But most of your, and I don't understand this, but probably why I'm doing a podcast from, the Podcast Palace instead of being on ESPN is I don't understand. They say it can't help him. It can only hurt him if he throws.
It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, it doesn't. I mean,
but really, all he's got to do, Terry, is bring the video of the Alabama game where he was kind of running up through the hole and then he pulled up and just threw that ball. That's it. He just here, look at this, and you don't need to know anything else.
Yeah, and they they talked about him not being big, tall enough. He's going to have to see over these big lines. Okay. The Oklahoma line this year was bigger than the average line in the NFL this year. So that
technically we had a NFL top line because four of our linemen are going to the NFL. And probably Creed Humphrey next year. I mean, it's going.
Yeah, we got Cody Ford and Samia and Ben Powers. They're all going to be in the draft this year, and I don't know. I mean, to me, either go to the combine and do it all, or don't go at all.
No, well, he told the Athletics that he is going to play football.
Yeah, but I mean, but my point is, you don't have to go to the combine. I mean, nobody has to go to the combine.
Well, if you're Kyler Murray, you absolutely go to the combine because he runs a sub 4.4. If he runs a 4.3 and throws the ball 70 yards. And he bench presses, and he can, 2 1/4, like 25 times. I mean, that is first round data.
Right.
Am I right?
Right. Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know why it wouldn't. But.
And then the other thing is, though, like Hollywood Brown is going to go, but he's not going to run the 40 because he's got a problem with his foot. So he's not.
Is he even going to participate in any of the drills?
I don't know. I think he's going to catch balls. He's not going to do any of the agility drills or the speed drills because of his foot. I'm upset about that because if Kyler runs a 40 and he runs a 40, we would finally know who's the fastest. And we're never going to know who's the fastest. We're never going to know, are we? Well, OU will give them a pro day here. Yeah.
So the pros that might be interested in picking him up, they'll come here. And he'll do all that inside the Everest Training Center.
Right.
He'll throw, he'll run, he'll do all the agilities and everything.
Right. But, yeah, so, I mean, I don't know. I mean, with Kyler, I know he can play in the NFL. I still wouldn't doubt if he doesn't end up being the first pick overall, which would be amazing because, Goober.
Straight number 1 picks. That'd be good for recruiting.
That'd be pretty awesome.
I got 2 Heismans and 2 number 1 picks. You come here.
Yeah, and it's not out of the realm of possibility that Arizona's new coach just went blank.
Kingsbury.
Yeah, Kingsbury, Cliff Kingsbury. It's not out of the realm of possibilities. I was listening to the radio earlier this week, and they were talking about all they got to do is put their quarterback up for somebody. This is a guy the type of offense that Kingsbury runs. Mm-hmm. This is a guy who already knows it in Kyler. You know what? Send your quarterback somewhere else, get you a couple good draft picks, and they've already got the number 1 pick. Why wouldn't you take Kyler Murray?
Yeah.
I mean,
I'd get some defensive help or something. I wouldn't. Yeah, I don't think Rosen can even would fit Kingsbury's offense.
No.
I think
Chosen Rosen.
He was he would. I don't think you could run a air raid offense. At UCLA, whenever he had proper blocking, he did pretty well. But he had to have proper blocking to do it.
Right.
He couldn't get out of the pocket and roll around and throw it, kind of like Baker does, and Collar sometimes whenever the pocket broke down. He'd have to have a perfect pocket, and the the only place that I could really see him going, Rosen, would be to New England, and who, he could be right behind Brady, because who knows how long he's going to play. Or he can go to Pittsburgh if they decide to. He can unseat Mason Rudolph, which would be fine by me.
Yeah.
I mean, because he pushed Landry out, might as well push him out too. And bring Kyler on and build that offense over there in Arizona.
Well, if Chip Kelly's stint in the NFL has taught NFL teams and NFL coaches anything, is you've got to have the right players to run this type of offense. Mm-hmm. Chip Kelly, in Philadelphia, and where was he coaching? Was it
49ers?
Yeah, the 49ers. If you don't have it, it doesn't work. If you don't have, here he is. He's got some of the greatest athletes, the greatest football players, regardless of the team. And if you don't have the particular style of quarterback, receivers, running backs, it's not going to work. And in my opinion, or my thoughts are, if Kingsbury is going to build this type of offense, then you start with the quarterback and you build it out. You know what I mean? Or he's just going to be a Chip Kelly, because Chip Kelly just couldn't get it rolling. Everybody was excited to see this. Hurry up, no huddle, no nonsense, throw it all over the field, read options, all this stuff, and it just never worked out.
Well, one thing that really burned him out was that his players kept getting injured. Offensive line, you had a couple receivers go down, you had running backs go down, and you didn't know what you had that next week, and then you try to build around that. Oh, someone else gets hurt. Try to put someone else in there, and there's a weakness right there. And, he couldn't find anything that would go along with that. He couldn't make his offense go, and especially with he didn't have very many young players at Philadelphia at that time. He started trading this one for this one, and he started trying to get some young players, but they weren't ready to be in an offense like that. They were almost there. They were getting there. They probably needed a couple more years in college or a year just to see what that offense was like.
Right.
And I think that was his downfall, was that his offense was a little bit too harsh. You could have a no huddle offense in the NFL as long as you get out there and you might slow it down a little bit. I mean, I think the Rams, they stayed to 15 seconds, stayed in the huddle 15. Went to the ball, snapped it, and went on. Yeah. Of course, they had their own downsides because of they couldn't throw the ball without just doing play action.
Right. Right. And one thing I want to bring up too, real quick, is give a shout out also to Marcus Hicks. He's a signee defensive end from Wichita, Kansas. This weekend he won the Class 5A state wrestling championship. I don't know the weight class, but I'm pretty sure it's heavyweight.
I think it is, yeah.
Because he's a big old boy.
Yes, he is.
But he dominated the state pretty much at his weight class all year long, and we wanted to give a congratulations out to him. And one of the reasons why I want to do that too is we bring up Twitter every now and then and stuff on Twitter. Some Nimrod, I'm not even going to use his name or anything else, puts out a tweet and basically or replies to a tweet that was out about him winning the state title in Kansas. That let's face it, Kansas wrestling is not that good. If he was in Oklahoma, he probably wouldn't have even made it, but hey, congratulations anyway. That's my nomination for the dumbest tweet in February. Because to be the best at anything in your state is amazing. Okay.
Well, and just look at the kid.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a brick wall.
And, you can't say that he wouldn't be a top wrestler in Oklahoma, just like you can't say, that top wrestlers in Oklahoma wouldn't be top wrestlers in Iowa. Iowa has one of the best little league and high school wrestling anywhere.
And collegiate.
Yes.
And,
Mhm.
just for somebody to spout that, and this guy was apparently an OU fan. I don't know what he was thinking when he put it, but he's removed the tweet, which is maybe the smartest thing he did.
Yeah.
But Marcus is obviously a phenomenal athlete, and tomorrow, he just finished up the state wrestling tournament, and tomorrow starts track practice. I think he throws the shot and discus.
God.
What is he, like 6'5", 290?
Yeah, something like that. He's
but he has like no fat on his body.
yeah, he's
a big, strong kid.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to seeing that kid put on the OU crimson. The other thing on the draft, real quick, I wanted to know: do kickers run the 40, or do they just make them get out there and kick?
I don't think they do, but
Okay, because Austin Seibert's going to be at the combine as well. Which, hey, I mean,
Dude, I hope he runs a 40.
who wants to see a bunch of kickers running the 40? Nobody.
I think it should be required that they go through the same thing as ever.
Nobody wants to see
the
that.
standing broad jump, their vertical, their bench press. I think kickers just go out and kick. But hey, hats off to Seibert. I don't remember how you pronounce his name.
Matter.
It doesn't matter. But I mean, the guy, I guess for 3 years, done all three. Kicking, kickoffs, field
be a
goal,
pro, for
and
sure.
punter. Broke a lot of records, but I had to throw that out there if we're gonna get to see a kicker, if the kickers run the 40s. But speaking of draft,
I imagine they'll get some some looks at, especially with kicking, with the field goals and stuff like that. He mind on punting and kickoffs. I know he'll get some looks after that.
oh yeah. Let's see here. Speaking of combine and draft, this is a little segment that we like to call Sooner or Not a Sooner. And these are Oklahoma football draft picks, or they're either Oklahoma football draft picks or they're something else, or they're not draft picks. All right. So Ralph Neely, Sooner, Not a Sooner.
That's just I'll do that audio issue. I was still thinking about it. I'm going to go for Not a Sooner.
Ralph Neely was a Sooner, graduated in 1965. He was a second-round pick to the Houston Oilers, and he also has 2 Super Bowl championships under his belt.
I knew the name sounded familiar, but I was like, no, that can't be right. That's what did he? Do you remember if he was a lineman or if he was a quarterback? I want to say defensive player. But
He was a tackle. I think it was an offensive tackle. Yeah. No, defensive tackle. Sorry.
Defensive tackle.
Yeah.
Well, I got half of it right.
Let's see. Let's try this one. Spencer Strassmore, Sooner, Not a Sooner.
Say the first name again.
Spencer Strassmore.
I've never heard of that name, so I won't go with Not a Sooner.
Not a Sooner. Rob, what do you think?
Not a Sooner.
Not a Sooner. He is not a Sooner. He is Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's character on the HBO series Ballers.
Huh.
So he.
I don't watch much TV or movies like that. It's either sports or nothing with me.
Yeah. Let's see here. Jamel Fleming.
He was a Sooner.
He was a Sooner. 2012 third-round pick to the Arizona Cardinals.
He was the one who had that strip against Texas. He had the strip and pick.
Okay.
Ran it all the way back.
Yeah. Let's see here. Terry Tate. Sooner, Not a Sooner.
That's not a Sooner.
That's not a Sooner?
Yes.
Okay, Rob?
It's a Sooner.
No, it's not a Sooner.
Dang it.
Nope.
That sounds like a character.
Okay.
I've heard of that.
Yeah. he was played by Lester Spate. He was the office linebacker in the Reebok commercials in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Bill Krischer. Sooner, not a Sooner.
Oh, that's another one of those. Maybe not.
The name definitely sounds familiar, doesn't it?
Yes. I want to say Sooner.
He was a Sooner. 1958 third-round pick to my Pittsburgh Steelers. Let's see. Buddy Burris.
We did have. I think we had a Burris. I remember there was a.
100% Sooner.
100% Sooner, you're saying, Rob?
100%.
Michael?
I want to say Sooner.
You're both correct. He 1947 fifth-round pick to the Green Bay Packers.
He has a section in the stadium, so I know.
Oh, does he?
Yeah.
Let's see here. Rudy Zoltek. Sooner, not a Sooner.
Not a Sooner.
Rob?
Not a Sooner.
What was he? Do either one of y'all know?
No clue.
It sounds like a hockey player, but I'm not sure.
No. Michael Zwiner played for the Urbana Little Giants in the movie Little Giants.
Okay.
Oh. God.
Have we talked about this season yet?
This season?
We haven't.
Uh-uh.
I was just wondering, Michael, how you feel like we're going to do going forward in this season. I'm sorry, Terry.
Say that again.
What you feel like? How are we going to do this upcoming season?
I think. Oh gosh. It's going to be a long-winded answer.
Oh, just give us the short version.
Okay. Well, I'm more like everyone. I'll just keep it short. I think I'm like everyone. We'll get to the playoffs again. And we'll win semifinal game. I think we'll fall short in the championship, which is I would rather do that than get blown out or beaten like we did this past year in the championship. You know, it makes everyone hungrier, and everyone keeps saying next year is our year. So
eventually, it's got to be, right?
Yeah,
we keep saying it enough, right?
Yeah.
My man Terry here thinks we're going completely undefeated all the way
But you
through.
know, you're going to have Spencer Rattler, who's been in the Lincoln system for a year. If he ends up playing 4 games, you're going to have those receivers and CD if he decides to come back next year, which it's not sure if he will. I mean, he's a junior this year. Senior CD Lamb. You have all these. You have Weeze and
Hazelwood.
Henderson.
Yeah.
Hazelwood. So,
Henderson.
you have all these good receivers who are just coming into their own as sophomores. You know, Charleston Rambo as a redshirt sophomore or junior, and you're going to be okay. And it'll be year 2 of Grinch's defense.
So what you're saying to all the Sooner fans out there is it's going to be another year just like the last 2, so we got to wait another year to get anything done. Yes, that's what you just said.
Well, yeah, basically, yeah. I hate it. I hate it too.
I'm afraid I agree with you. I mean, I don't know who's going to beat Oklahoma. You know, Rob said I picked them to go undefeated. We're going to get into the playoffs again, and we're probably going to fall short somewhere.
That's a negative, sir.
Yeah.
That is a big negative.
And
we will not lose a game this next season.
no, we're going.
We're going to go all the way through. And maybe back-to-back, honestly. We may go back-to-back undefeated seasons.
I'm hoping we do. I really do. But going on to next year, I was listening to y'all listen to a lot of podcasts, right? The OU podcast and everything, don't you?
I listen to as much stuff as I can. So, you know,
Did you hear? Do you listen to that one from the Rough Riders, Fourth and Goal podcast?
I've heard it, but probably I don't. If I haven't listened to it recently.
Just to be honest with you, this is the only one I listen to, and I don't even listen to it all the time. I just ain't got time. To do it. So.
They had a question. They were going through questions and everything this past week. I think it was on Tuesday, and I listened to it Tuesday. They had a question. What is the most likely to happen? Jalen Hurts winning the Heisman, or a defensive player being all Big 12 first team?
Jalen Hurts winning the Heisman. I mean, I don't see anybody on our defense improving that much in 1 year.
The only one that I can really see besides Neville Gallimore and some of the linemen would be Trey Brown, or even. I mean, who knows what Kenneth Murray will do? I mean, he got third team this year, or honorable mention, and the defense did well, And so I think he will. If one of them, the most obvious choice would be Trey Brown. So I would think that. I mean, I think. Like 65%, Jalen wins another Heisman, but you also have that Trevor Lawrence from Clemson, and then you have Tua. Who knows if he's going to be back next year, because this would be his third year out of college, and the NFL will become calling to him.
Yeah, and it's I mean, I think Rob and I are a lot like. I mean, Oklahoma. The one thing that is definite is that Oklahoma is not going to get into the playoffs if they lose a game this year. But I don't see them losing a game throughout the season because I think the playoff committee has – because I think they deserved both times, but I think public opinion is that Oklahoma has been giving the door – they're opening the door for them because it's Oklahoma. It's a big name. So I'm worried that if Oklahoma loses, say they have the exact same season they had last year, loses to Texas and then beats Texas, I don't think Oklahoma gets in because they have the last 2 years with that one loss.
Well, it depends on what happens around them.
Yeah, But yeah, that's true too. But I mean, I don't think Texas is. I don't see anybody beating on their schedule, beating Oklahoma. So I think we're going to wind up in the playoffs, probably with the number 1 or 2 seed going into it. And then let's face it, you're going to be playing one of the 2 juggernauts, Alabama or Clemson, and you're going to have to beat one of those 2.
Alabama's losing a lot of talent.
Yeah, but
and Clemson lost the entire defensive line. So,
but here's another bold prediction, okay, or just a thought. Okay, Oklahoma goes undefeated this year, let's say, and wins it all like Rob said. Undefeated. Is that the start of
a dynasty?
Of Lincoln breaking the 47 straight?
Oh, God, no. God, no.
Oh, man.
That would be, since they're playing 13 games now, is that right?
That is never going to happen.
That would be 1, 2, 3, 4.
15.
Yeah.
15 in a row.
Yeah. So, I don't know, Rob.
Nah.
You're not going to
undefeated season. I can see that. I honestly can.
Yeah.
You know what the difference is between now and then? Back then, our second team was better than everybody else.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
That is not the case anymore because there's a lot of parity in college football.
Yeah, but but I'm like, I think when Oklahoma does win a title, and I think they are going to really here soon, really. It already kind of is. It's going to be a 3-horse race, and Oklahoma's going to win more than their fair share moving forward, I think. But when Oklahoma,
listen, you say fair share. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. They are all ours.
They're all ours.
Yeah.
But I think Oklahoma the 2 years in a row that they're in the playoffs. They're eventually going to jump that hurdle. Hopefully it's this year, get into the championship game and win one. Then you're going to have this 3-horse race for the next 5 or 6 years. And I truly believe that it's going to be Oklahoma, and it already kind of is that right now. It's Oklahoma, Clemson, and Alabama. And when Oklahoma gets over that hump and wins it, it's going to be, you're going to sit here and go, people are going to get mad because they're going to see Oklahoma, Alabama,
and Clemson,
and somebody
probably Ohio
else.
State. Probably
somebody. I don't know. I think that 4th spot is going to just be whoever.
Random,
that 4th spot. But
the revolving door,
right?
It'll be like Ohio State, and then if USC ever gets good, then Washington, if they continue to be good, Michigan, if they finally decide to get a good quarterback under center up there, it's going to be a revolving door.
They may have one now.
But let's face it, okay, the people want to talk about the Big 12 not being that good. Clemson has been in the playoffs and won championships the last 4 or 5 years. The ACC is terrible.
Bad.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Clemson's not.
Yeah, and Clemson's not, but I mean Oklahoma is kind of the Clemson of the Big 12. I mean they're dominating the league. Texas is going to push us, but I don't think I that's how much faith I have in Lincoln Riley, is that, and not him personally, just his knowledge of the game and what he's doing with this team. It's going to be a dynasty for a while. It's going to be a 3-horse race for a while here.
Yeah, we've talked about this, and for the next several years, we're going to be really, really good because the 19 class is phenomenal. The 20 class is going to shape up to be outstanding. We just keep that up. We're just going to keep getting better.
We actually got a commitment today. I'm not going to say his name, but because don't want to get in trouble. But we got a commitment today. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
we got, and I'll go ahead and do a bold prediction too. Y'all were talking about everyone being real good. I think if none of our coaches in the Big 12 go anywhere else, I would say I won't say next year or year after, the Big 12 will go undefeated in the bowl season.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't think that's.
Because, you got that really good offense at TCU. It's just that they need to find the right players. And over in Texas Tech, you got the guy from Utah State, and he runs a very good offense, and it's run and gun too. Baylor, they're starting to pick it up and pick up the team. Texas is going to be Texas for a while. I mean, they might be down and then they'll come right back up, but then be down again, be right back up. But they're going to surprise. I'm hoping everyone but us. And Oklahoma State, if Mike Gundy and whatever the heck's going on up there, if they get their head on straight, they're going to be good. Iowa State, if Matt Campbell stays there, they're going to be good, and especially with Purdy.
Yeah.
So, Brock Purdy was that quarterback. If he stays there, they're going to be good. Kansas State, we were just talking about them. If they can get everything back in order, they're going to be good. And Les Miles in Kansas, they could be respectable. That will bring up the conference so much. And that will everyone will see, and then finally when we get to bowl season and beat the doors off of everyone, and OU just goes in and wins the national championship, that will show that the Big 12 might be the best conference.
Yeah, it could turn out that way, for sure. But hey, Michael, we appreciate you taking the time out and being on with us. That's about all the time we have for the podcast, and
it was my pleasure. That was real fun.
Well, hey, we appreciate it.
Again sometime.
Oh yeah, we have a list, and we'll reach out to you. And again, folks, if you are interested in being on the podcast with us, just go to our website www.soonerfootballfans.com. Give us your information, and we'll get a hold of you. It's that simple. And Michael, again, appreciate it. Look forward to talking to you again, and all the Sooner fans out there, we'll talk to you next time. Boomer Rob.
Boomer Terry.
Boomer Michael.
Boomer guys.
I'd like to play some football. football. Yeah, would you like that? I mean, we really could hit the cards? But you'd like that, wouldn't you, Sonny?
Thanks for listening to the Sooner Football Fans Podcast. Sooner Football Fans Podcast is hosted by Rob Nixon, Terry Long, and occasionally Caleb Long. It is produced at the beautiful Podcast Palace in Norman, Oklahoma. Follow us on Twitter at SoonerFBFans and like our Facebook page at Facebook.com/Sooner Football Fans, and visit our website at www.SoonerFootballFans.com to read our blogs and keep up with our tailgating activities. Boomer Sooner, everyone.